Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Karen Shanung, and I'm part of the Great Codabears team. I'll be presenting information in Kinetic Epicor about the ABCs of inventory. A few weeks ago, we did a similar presentation, so some things might be review, but there will be new things also. Please put any questions you have in the chat window, and I'll answer them at the end of the Lunch and Learn today, or if further research is needed, possibly with a later follow-up email. So the ABC hierarchy here shows the path for each menu item in Epicor where ABC codes can be associated with parts. Inventory managers, or whoever is responsible for inventory accuracy, should do these setups items and verify things are set up as you want them before you do your daily, weekly, or monthly or yearly counting of inventory. Once you have determined where you want to set your ABC codes up, you then need to decide what process to use to set up the codes. Do you want to use part site warehouse cycle count to set up the codes? That's the most detailed area, and then warehouse cycle count ABC codes is next, and then part site cycle count and site configuration modules, inventory, cycle count ABC codes, and then finally ABC codes maintenance is the general one if you don't have anything defined in the previous locations. Process to set up ABC codes will also be covered. We'll be covering using the calculate ABC codes, using the DMT tool, the data management tool, possibly using an updatable business activity query, as long as you have permissions for something like that and you want to do that for your company, or you can manually set up ABC code. So within MES, in part tracker or part entry, you can navigate to the site and warehouse details, and you can view the cycle count ABC code and additional settings. In the ABC hierarchy, if codes are set up at this level, these codes override any that are set up at other levels. So once you're at this detailed level within the specific part in the specific site and the specific warehouse, there's a cycle count card, and you can set up ABC codes there, and these override any that are at any other levels. You can also open the warehouse entry screen, either in your part tracker or if you're using full Epicor, you can open warehouse entry, and you can view the cycle count detail card and the ABC codes card. So the cycle count detail card shows a few settings that can be set, that you can use the plant setting, or you can choose repetitive or random setting for cycle counts. Then you can navigate to the ABC codes card, and you can set up any ABC codes that you want. In this case, this warehouse did not have this really set up. We don't have the count frequency set up or the stock value, etc. In the ABC hierarchy, if codes are set up at this level, these codes override any other levels except for the previous one shown at the part site warehouse cycle count level. Again, using part tracker or part entry, you can navigate to the site detail and the card for cycle count. You can see the cycle count information for this level. You don't have quite as many details at this level, but you can see the information that's there. And then again, in the ABC hierarchy, if codes are set up in this level, these codes override the site level and the company level ABC codes. Next, at the site level, you can open the site configuration and navigate to the inventory and then to ABC codes to see what was set up for a specific site. You can view the cycle count ABC code card and additional settings that are set up for the site. Here we can see A is set up for 30 days, B 90, and C 180 days for count frequency, and your A code was set up for 70% of the stock valuation, and B is 90%, which would be the additional 20% really, and then C is set up for 99%, which would be the additional 9%. In the ABC hierarchy, if codes are set up at the site level, these codes override the company level ABC code. And then the last level is the ABC codes maintenance, which is a separate menu item, and that's where it would be set up for the full company. If you do not have any other lower levels set up, the default will go to the codes you set up in ABC code maintenance. And when you open the ABC code menu, you can view the cycle count ABC codes card and additional settings that are set up for the company. In the ABC hierarchy, if codes are set up in this level, these codes are only used if you do not have ABC codes assigned at a more specific level. So next we're covering the different ways to set up ABC codes, different processes. The first one would be to go ahead and utilize Epicor's calculate ABC code. Epicor provides a menu item that you can use to run a process to calculate ABC code. There are several options you can set up before running the process. You can also choose to run the process for all sites or filter for a site. After you make the selections, click Print or Preview. Print Preview. I suggest you do not check this box for update ABC codes, at least not the first time that you run this calculate ABC codes, until you're sure about the recommendations this report provides. So likely your initial processing will only be suggestions for what you might set up for ABC codes. If you're happy with those suggestions, or you want the ABC code suggested to be put in place as a starting point, then you can run it again, checking this box to say update the ABC codes to have them actually assigned to parts. So this is an example of the report that was run with the selections shown on the previous slide. At the top, you can see the criteria for the report. It was one site that to use warehouse stock valuation and include the quantity on hand. And we said history usage through 5/7 and projected through 6/6. The report is only for the main site, but then groups by each warehouse within the site. Notice the columns for the last cycle count date shown here, the old ABC and the new ABC code. So whatever was the old ABC code is shown here, and what's suggested by the system to be the new ABC code is shown here. And on the right side, you can see a ranking column, which is based on the stock valuation. Here we can see the value of the stock. And, for this particular warehouse, there's not very many parts, but they are ranked based on the value of the parts. And in between, you can see there's a total for each different code, ABC code. So code A, B, and C. So really the first two parts, either one could be 1 or 2, and also could be 3, and then these would have to be 4 and 5. Yeah, I guess they couldn't really be 3 because that's B, but 1 and 2 could be switched around. Really, it probably just goes in order by the part number then within the warehouse and the code. Comparing the old ABC to the new ABC, you can see if you agree with the changes before running the process, again with the option checked to update the ABC codes. The data management tool, or DMT, can also be used to add or update your ABC codes. The picture here shows the main ABC code entry screen for the company. Under the inventory setup in Epicor menu items, the DMT also has additional areas that can be updated, like all the areas in the ABC hierarchy. For example, another area would be at the management system plant configuration ABC. So this is the company-wide one, and then the path I just mentioned would be for the site area to update an DMT. Another option could be to use an updatable business activity query to get the needed information to help you decide what ABC codes should be assigned. You can show the current ABC code and make that field updatable if you want to update the ABC code. This query shows the summary quantity and cost. You can decide if you want to update based on quantity or add a calculation to extend the cost and update based on the extended cost. So with an updatable BAQ, you have a button that says get list, and it will show all the different values for your query. And then if you double click a particular row, whatever you allowed to be updatable in that query will show up from this row. So the row selected, the actual ABC, is a B, and you can update it to either an A or a C, or if you have other letters, you can update it to those. And then you would say OK, and then you would have another button down here that would actually say to update, because it doesn't really do the update until you press that button. You can also manually set up ABC codes. The last option would be to use part entry and getting to the part site warehouse detail cycle count area as shown here in your Epicor menu and cards. You can then check the box for manual ABC code. Checking this box enables the related ABC code fields to allow you to make changes. Using this manual process may be an option if you only need to change a few parts, since it is only one part at a time. Maybe only a few parts are incorrect for what code you want them to be, or maybe you want to start with only a few parts in your cycle count. And let me just mention, as always, it's best to try your things out in a test environment so you can get familiar and review the results to see that Epicor Kinetic setting up ABC codes work as you expected. Thanks all, and enjoy the rest of your day.